How many of you have heard about or read about all of the issues going on with comprehensive sex education? It's coming to a school near you and being pushed as far as kindergarten. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how this law became, and then what some of the actual curriculum says. I'm reading directly from the curriculum so that no one can say, oh, that's not in there, she's exaggerating. I'm going to read only from kindergarten through 8th grade and let you imagine what our high schoolers are being taught. So in 2016, there was a law that was passed called the California Healthy Youth Act. It was sponsored by the people that are going to benefit from our kids having a lot of sex, and that was Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, and Equality California. They helped write the bill and then helped continue to write the curriculum that we are using to teach throughout every single school district. We have gone from, when we were growing up, the idea that we're going to talk about health and the body changing, to now sex is a right, and that we need to teach the kids how they can express that and be comfortable with their right to their own sexuality, whatever that is, as you're going to hear. They want to promote an understanding of the normal human development. And you will hear what they think is normal human development is very contrary to what we teach our kids at home. I remember 25 years ago opting our kids out of sex ed, and there were only 2 students that were opted out. And ours was more of a statement. We'd had the talk. I really didn't care if he was in the class, but we wanted him to know that this is the role of parents, that sex education belongs to the parents and the church, and it does not belong to the public schools. And we need to start claiming our kids and taking their hearts and minds, especially when it comes to the teaching of sex and sexuality, and make sure if we're enrolled in the public school that we are keeping them home on those days, we are pulling them out, and we are at those school board meetings demanding they not teach our kids this stuff. So the law actually says that you must affirmatively talk about all sexual orientations. That means in every grade that you talk about anything regarding sex, you have to talk positively about all sexual orientations. It also says you shall teach about gender stereotypes. Who has gender stereotypes? That would be us, those that think a biological male is a male and a biological female is a female. They want to break that down with our kids. They want to change that. So now I'm going to start with the language that they're trying to push in kindergarten. This comes directly from one of the 3, everything I'm going to quote, one of the 3 compliant curriculums in the state of California. I'm going to start in kindergarten, and you guys can just imagine by the time we get to high school. And you can decide, like we had to when we were trying to decide, okay, are we going to call this X-rated or R-rated schools? And that was kind of a debate, which is a problem in and of itself that we were wondering. I want you guys to decide. Is it X or R rated, and does it belong in our schools, and what are you going to do about it? So here's kindergarten. This is what they're starting. This is your body, and you have a right to know what the different parts are. Here comes the fun part. Most people have a vulva or a penis, but some people's bodies can be different. Your body is exactly right for you. I'm going to advise you, if that was really uncomfortable, you might want to leave now because I'm going to keep saying it. If they're teaching it to our kindergartners, you need to know, we need to hear it, and we need to demand that it stops. 1st grade, ask the children to consider why is it that some people make decisions about what children can and can't do. That some people are the parents. Discuss that children and grown-ups have choices and may like to do all different kinds of things. Then they go into, right after that, hey, you get to decide, and adults shouldn't be deciding for you. There are some body parts that mostly just girls have, and some that mostly just boys have. Most girls, not all, most girls have a vulva, which is the name of the area between the legs. The kindergarten, 1st grade. The vulva describes the whole area, including the small hole where urine or pee comes out of. I know, I heard that. The opening, then the hole below that, which is a little bigger and is called the vagina, is used when a female has a baby. And the hole below that, where a bowel movement or poop, as they, I'm sure, giggle, comes out, is called the anus. 1st grade California schools approved curriculum. So a person with a vulva has 3 holes between their legs and a very sensitive area at the top called a clitoris or clitoris. There's debate among that. 2nd grade. Is this what we should be teaching our kids? 2nd grade. This is all a lesson on gender. Define the word prejudice by saying, prejudice is when you judge or make assumptions about someone based on who they are or who you think they are. Like if they have a body part, they're a male, and if they have another body part, they're a female. The lesson then goes on to break down the whole idea that that doesn't make them who they are, and that everyone has a right to feel good about themselves, their families, and what they believe. It then goes on, 3rd grade, they talk about representing the pride, the gay and lesbian flag, and creating a gay and lesbian flag, and why you should take pride in that if you're a gay and lesbian family, and all the kids, for their homework, draw a pride flag and hang it on the wall. 5th grade. Again, we're still in elementary school. They're getting these lessons every year. By the time we get to high school, it's horrendous what they're teaching them. Define sexual orientation. Sometimes we will feel this way about people who are a different gender than we are. That's called heterosexual. You may hear the word straight. Sometimes we will have feelings for people who are same gender. That's called being gay. Some gay women will call themselves lesbians. I mean, is this what we're okay teaching our kids in elementary school? This is great. This is exactly what we're entrusting our schools for. What are some good places someone can go if they want to learn more about the reproductive system? Conclude the lesson by encouraging students to learn about their bodies and tell them the names of their body parts, how to take care of them, and give them resources that they can go to. Number 1 resource is Planned Parenthood that they hand these kids. It's Equality California. Point to the penis. Explain the penis, and the same thing we went on with the vagina. Goes on about the clitoris being sensitive. Again, forgive me, we're in mixed company. You need to know that the law says you teach this in mixed company. You don't separate the guys and the girls anymore and watch the film in 5th or 8th grade. This is what you're doing. By the time you get to junior high, you're doing at least 10 lessons. Most of them are between 12 and 14 and an hour long each. That's 2 weeks' worth. Note to teacher, this is my favorite. Well, not really. Okay, so the note to the teacher, and this is throughout all the different curriculums. Listen carefully. 6th grade. Language is really important, and we've intentionally been careful about our language throughout this curriculum. You may notice language throughout the curriculum that seems less familiar, using the pronoun they instead of her or him, using gender-neutral names in scenarios and role plays, and referring to someone with the vulva versus calling them a girl or a woman. Okay, so those of you with vulvas, line up over here, and then if you have a penis, line up over here. It's funny, and I know I'm shocking some people with what I'm saying, and I'm standing in a church. I am a modest Christian woman, I'm sorry. This is what they're instructing. Every single lesson of Advocates for Youth in 6th grade has a note to the teacher identical to what I just read to you. California has approved this curriculum. School districts, we are at the Chino Valley Unified School Board meeting, and teacher after teacher got up this week advocating for your kids need to learn this stuff. I don't know what you all are so afraid of. In addition, learned homophobia is likely to come up. And then it goes on to tell the teacher how she handles all this learned homophobia. If someone is going to express, well, our family believes differently. We believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. That's not okay. It goes on talking about how religious doctrine is not to be reinforced. It also goes on to talk about you can abstain from sex, but those that abstain from sex usually end up having sex at some point in their lives. This is to 6th graders. That's because sex between two people, when both people are ready physically and emotionally, have said they wanted to do it and are ready to protect themselves from unwanted pregnancy, can feel good and bring a couple closer. Does that sound like they're promoting abstinence or they're promoting sex? Just like other things in our lives that help us feel good, we need to think about how and when to do them. This is what we're allowing to be taught in our schools to our children, our neighbors' children, our grandchildren, and we have got to stop this. This is absolutely against everything we believe, and I've been involved in this battle for almost 25 years. I got involved when they were teaching abstinence, and there was a lot of uproar over whether or not we were allowed to teach abstinence, or are we going to teach only abstinence or teach condoms? Well, now we're doing condom demonstrations in class. Not only are we doing condom demonstrations, but we're giving them each a condom and a little model that they each get to be comfortable with so that they use it correctly. We're learning about internal, external condoms. I have learned I'm a grandma, I don't need to know a lot of this stuff, but I'm learning far more things than I ever knew or wanted to know. Middle school. Here's where we're going with middle school. Low risk for STDs. This is directly out of the curriculum, and all of the California curriculums, including what Chino Valley Unified is proposing, it considers this list low risk. Deep tongue kissing. Vaginal sex using an external or internal condom. Anal sex using a condom correctly. Oral sex using a latex barrier or cut open condom correctly. 6th grade. They are actually promoting anal sex as low-risk activity for our teenagers. And when you get to the high school curriculum, they're actually endorsing it as a birth control method that will, and it's our daughters that are going to be the ones suffering from that, as a birth control method because of the low risk of getting pregnant. I know it sounds like it's not happening. I've gone through all the legislation, all of the curriculum that they have approved, and it's going on. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It goes on about if you have a student in class, now we're into 7th grade, and that's, I've only given you stuff up to 7th grade. If you have a student in the class who is openly trans, this could be a wonderful opportunity for that student to share firsthand experience of how they've been responding to gender messages. We're in 7th grade. How many of you heard about the situation in Rockland where in kindergarten they did a coming out transition ceremony at the charter school? Yeah. Read the book I Am Jazz. He went in, changed his clothes, came out, and the teacher presented him as his girl name to the kindergartners who were mortified that their friend had just turned from a boy that they'd known all year into a girl. So now that I've kind of gotten your attention, I want to remind you I don't like, well, I was going to say I don't like saying these words, but I think I need to. I think you need to hear what's going on and what our kids are being taught. And they just mandated this on every single charter school in the state of California. Just signed into law. So it's the law. We have been, our organization, I've been busy pulling FOIAs, Freedom of Information Acts, and getting all the curriculum of every single school district because they have been lying to the parents about what they're actually doing. We'll be unveiling that in January, what every school district is practicing. But we want you to join with us at Capital Resource Institute. We have policies to protect kids as we work long-term to change the law, but these hearts and minds need to be protected in the meantime. So I want to ask you to think about, do you think it should be R or X rated? And then a quote that I love from William Wilberforce, and it says, "You may choose to look the other way, but you can never say again that you did not know. Please do something."